Hello, good afternoon everyone. Thank you for coming to join me. I just thought I'd do a quick video on my cleanup after finishing a journal. So I did the two French Chateau journals and they are winging their way to their new home. So thank you so much for the support that I got for those. And I just wanted to go through quickly what I do with what I have left over from when I finish a journal. Before I scoop it all up and either get rid of the little bits or put it away for another time, I like to try and have a look and see if there's anything that I can do with what I've got left. So I just thought I'd go through a couple of things. I don't know if you find it useful, but I'd like to know what you do with your pieces of paper that you have leftovers at the end of projects. So I've got all sorts. Usually I do print more than I'm going to need when I'm doing a journal. I print the pages for the journal and then I tend to print them again to use for collage and all sorts of different things like that. So what I like to do, you may have noticed in my journals that I've been doing these pages that have got like I call it quilting around the edge. It's like a patchwork of papers. And I first saw this on Gail Agostinelli, and it's something that I just really like to do. I just think it makes the page looks pretty, and you can still write on them. I mean, you can write over this or you can stick a picture in it. So I've done one already, and what I tend to do is do a few with the little bits and snips that I've got left over. So the outs or the page that's going to fit into the journal like that, I try and pick ones that have got a bit of a pattern on. So these I managed to get some plastic doily pattern image. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is a bit of a pattern on that one. So on the inside of it, I've just got some bits that I've got left over, and all that I would do is add these on and then just see where it leads me. And I've got a box of, as you know, I do design team work for Rachel, Roxy's Creations, and I also do it for Andrea Artie Mays. So what I'm tending to do is each time I finish, and I do some bits for Crafty Cat as well. Sorry, Amy. So what I tend to do when I've finished is I'll work with the papers that I've got and put them in a relevant box. So if it's like this one, this is from Rachel's papers. So it'll go in a Rachel box. If I've done a project for Andrea, then I'll make some things and it'll go in my Andrea box. And then if it's Amy from Crafty Cat, then it goes in my Amy box. And it kind of works really well for me. It has done so far, so that's what I'm doing. And I just think it helps me when it, throwing my glue away. When it comes to the next journal, I've got a little bit of something that I can pull from. And I do find that if you're using papers from the same designer, I think they all go together so well anyway. So I don't think it matters if you're mixing and mixing and matching different papers. You know, if it's the same designer, they work really well. And as you can see, they're not all the same kind of width, but I don't do them too thick. Different lengths. I'm trying not to think about what I'm putting down, so I like this to be quite a quick thing to do and not take too long on it. The papers that I've tea dyed, I tend to cut mine down a little bit, so I think mine are about 5.5 when I folded it, a sheet of A4. When you tea dye them, they do shrink a little bit, I find. I don't know if anybody else finds that, but mine certainly do shrink when I tea dye them. So I tend to cut them down so that they're 8 inches tall, and when folded, 5.5. And I know that that will fit a journal that I make, unless, of course, I end up doing a TN. So if I was going to do this for a TN, then obviously, and TN, for those of you that are new, it's a traveller's notebook, which off the top of my head, I think is about 4.25 width ways and about 8.5 tall-ish, something like that. I don't tend to do TNs very often because I think I overstuff them. I am planning to do a couple when I've finished this project and when I get back from my holiday next week. Sorry, there's kids going past outside. The school's out. We're away for the next couple of weeks. Or actually, when you see this video, I will be away. And when I get back, my plan is I want to do some William Morris themed journals. And when I say William Morris, I'm going to be using the papers from Andrea Artie Mays. And for me, I love Art Nouveau. So I've got some images from Mrs. Coggs as well, from her Art Nouveau sets that I really like. And I've been dying to use those. So I want to mix those with Andrea's William Morris papers. But also William Morris to me is all about nature and natural things. And I think that was what he was trying to do. And that was what his work was about, was trying to replicate the beauty of nature. I could be wrong, but I think that's it. And so I want to do kind of nature flowers and maybe some butterflies and things as well. So, and I did think about doing Beatrix Potter as kind of with some William Morris papers, because I just think when she was around and doing her pictures and paintings, you know, William Morris papers may have been there as well, and it just all, to me, it all just all ties together with Beatrix Potter as well, and Peter Rabbit, and I love Jeremy Fisher, so I'm itching to do some Jeremy Fisher journal as well. So I've got all sorts going on in my little brain at the moment. Probably sounds a bit of an eclectic mix, but I'm sure once I get going, I do worry when I start a journal that I don't know where it's going to go. I haven't really got an idea. I have papers that I like, and then I end up with something that hopefully looks beautiful, or, you know, people are interested in. So as you can see, doing this, it doesn't take very long at all. If you've got your papers ripped ready, it takes even less time. So that's what I tend to do, is the little bits that I have left over. I just want something small to go in there, don't I? The little bits that I have left over, I tend to tear into roughly the same widths, and then I just keep them in an envelope and put them in my box relevant for whichever designer they're for. You can go down that side, down the edges as well, but I don't tend to. So obviously when you've got that in a journal, you only see half of it. So that took me about 5 minutes to do that. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to put a little bit of this red actually there, just because I like that red. So I would tend to do a few of these and leave them to dry, and then just when they are dry, as I say, I just put them in my box. And then when I'm next doing a journal for Rachel, I'll go to those and see if any of them look okay. So sorry, I did show you this one, didn't I? So there's no right or wrong way for them to go, you know, upside, unless you've got writing on, you might not want writing upside down. But I just think they are really pretty, and it just adds that bit of variety to a plain piece of paper. I sometimes have problems with just plain pieces of paper in. What else do I do? I've made, are you ready for this one? The long journal collage papers that we do on the book page. I was really thrilled that I found out about this and actually put the 2 pages together and just carried on the long roll. So the larger pieces that I've got, I've just put on one, it's still going, one long collage sheet. And I will use those to make tags or to make little booklets. And if we have time, we'll do a couple. But these are cut from those, from a different one that I did. So I've already got these cut. So I go through the papers that I've got left over and have a look if I've got anything that might make a tag. I think that one would make a really nice tag. So some of these that I've got are already collaged, so that can be the back of the tag. So I think this one, it's going to be a little bit big for that, but that doesn't matter because it can be trimmed down. So my paper's gluey already. I don't know if anybody else is having trouble with the glue sticks at this time of year, but mine just seems to want to go to complete and utter mush. So the back of that one, I'm going to put glue on. I don't think there's a right and a wrong way with it at all. And then this is going to be a journal tag. So I'm just going to put that on there. And then just cut it down slightly, just so that it's, I've got a ruler somewhere, there we go. Just cut the edges off. A lot of the kit pages that the digital artists like Artie Mays and Rachel and Amy from Crafty Cat, they all have something on the sheet that is like a focal point. And I always, if I've got papers left over that I've perhaps ripped into because I've been doing different things with them, then I'd just go through, and like this was on one of the pages. So I would just then use that. I've got that snip there as well. I quite like that. It would depend then if I'm going to put it as a side tuck or into a pocket, but I quite like that. So I think that's going to get glued onto the top of that. If I can find some stronger glue, that one is. So this is one of the rolls that Rachel does, and that's something else that you can use as well, to use your little bits and pieces of. And then I've just got some laying around that I can put on and glue on. And then you've got a ready-made tag for another journal that you're doing. I do tend to stitch round all of mine, so that would go in my stitching pile, but it's backed on the back because I've used that long strip, and it's got a topper on it, and I think that's just pretty. I think the pink picks up in the pink in that. So that's one done. What else have I got? I've had this lady left over. Let me just put my lid on my glue. This was on one of the pages as well, and I thought she looked quite nice on that one. And again, this is just cut from one of those rolls, so this one isn't backed at the moment, but it soon will be. So I'm just going to glue her really well on there, and then that just gives that tag a focal point. I quite like the music paper at the top of that. I've got some of Tracy's labels here as well. Oh, that one's a good one. That says the hour is late, scissors. So I hope you're all doing okay. I just want to thank you all as well so much for the support that you gave me, or that you continue to give me when I'm doing videos. I do kind of think beforehand what I want to do on a video. Does that look like she's been reading and somebody said to her, the hour is late, you know, it's time to switch your light off and go to sleep? That's going on there. I try and think about what I'm going to do on a video before I come over and do one to you all, but it doesn't always work out the way that I want it to. I mean, I've found that I can pause it if I can't find what I want, but the trouble that I've found with that is sometimes when I pause it and go to switch it back on again, I actually end up switching it off. I think that blends in too well, doesn't it? You can't quite see it. Yeah, so I end up switching it off. Oh, that looks better, doesn't it? Like that one. These rolls that Rachel does is just so useful. So I tend to keep all my little snips of lace and stuff. And it's just done on old bits of paper. Then you just tack them on with a bit of glue and then stitch down it. I know Rachel has done videos on it. She does them quite a lot. And if you do one, you know, 2 or 3 sheets of or strips of paper, the offcuts of paper that you get, you know, when you're cutting something down with your coffee dye paper and such. Just make sure that there's nothing rude on the back of that. I think that's actually a Jane Eyre page, so that's not going to have anything rude on, is it? So that's the second tag. So I've got 2 tags. We're at 15 minutes, so that's not taken long to do those, has it? What else have I got? So these I would probably use as journal cards as well. I've got this one, and I think I'm going to put that on there, and then obviously I'll have to cut the back of it down. And this is these are all pieces from the kit, from the French Chateau kits that I've used. Glue that on there, and then just cut it down. This is actually quite a large tag. I'll measure how big it is when I've done. Oh, it's not that. It's quite wide, I think, rather than large, isn't it? I think as long as you're mindful as to what size your journal pages are going to be. I mean, mine are usually around, sorry, I'm just trying to make sure that's straight. Mine are usually around 5.5 wide, so it depends what kind of pocket, you know, if you're doing a side tuck or what sort of pocket you're going to put your tags into. Or I mean, this could, I think I might cut a bit off there. I don't like that paler bit that's on. Oh, and that makes it 4 inches wide, so that would be perfect, because if I did a pocket at 4.5 inches, then that would fit in there just perfectly. But it is a bit plain, isn't it? I mean, it's not plain, it's beautiful, but what I mean is it could have something on it. I don't know what that little bird's doing in there, but it's probably a little bit serendipity that it is. I wonder what that would look like. Does the green look funny? Does it need to be red to match his tummy? What do we think of that? Could I do with a little bit of something down the side? Just something. Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? I quite like that, actually. So this is one of the bits of paper that I'd ripped ready to do my round the coffee dyed book page. Sorry, somebody's driving a lorry down the road. How dare they? Gosh, a golly. Can you hear that? I think somebody's having a skip delivered. Gosh, let me just pause you a moment. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, folks. That somebody's having a skip delivered across the road, and they're making rather an awful lot of noise delivering it, and I'm sure you could hear that. I'm just wondering if he needs something else underneath there, or if that's okay. What do we think? See, I'm faffing again now. I don't really want to lose any more of those flowers than I need to, I don't think, so I'm not going to. There we go. Decision made. Quick decision for me as well, wasn't it? And I very rarely read what's on, is that level? What's on Tracy's labels. I can see it says onion and something else. Looks like a shopping list. But I do love Tracy's labels. They're really good to use. They just add that little bit of something, and I just want this little bird to sit on his little, there we go, on his branch. So there I've got another tag. So that's 3 tags that I've got. I don't know about putting a topper on that one. I think that blends in a bit, doesn't it? Does it? Do we want something else? Is there any? I might do that actually. Oops, Daisy. Oh, look at that one there. That's got some nice little bit of texture on it. I quite like that with the texture on. So that is what I'm gonna do. And when I stitch round my tag, I'll put it that way. What do you think? Do we like it? When I stitch round the tag, I stitch across this as well, so it's doubly stitched on. Gosh, I bet you can still hear that skip being delivered. I would put you on pause while he does it, but I don't know how long my camera will pause for, and I don't want to lose you. Let me try. I'll switch it off, pause you just for one moment. I am sorry. Okay, hopefully he's going to be quiet for a bit. Another thing that I do is looking at the pieces of the kit pages that I've got left over. You can make pockets out of them with some of them as a focal point. So this is only copy paper that I've got. So what I've done is I've put a little bit of book page on the inside, and I always fold the edges over because that just gives you that little bit extra space to put something in. And while I think it's just a beautiful, it's embroidered, yeah, it is embroidery that she's put over something. Sorry, that's Rachel. But I do like this bird, and I think the colours of him just match it so nicely, and I think I'm going to put that on there just to decorate that pocket. Lost my glue. Here we go. And again, I think as long as you bear in mind, sorry, just trying to get that straight. If you bear in mind what size your pocket is going to be, your book page is going to be. So example, this is going to be a page in one of my books. So that's going to be the pocket on there. Isn't that pretty? And then it will have, you see that just fits in there nicely. And they just go together so well, don't they? So you kind of, well, I guess I'm kind of mass making in a way. But I find if I don't do something with the little bits and pieces that I had left over from a kit, they end up getting bundled together and they end up getting all creased and twisted, and then I don't look at them for so long, and then you end up doing nothing with them, and I think it's just a shame. So I really am interested in what the rest of you would perhaps do with any bits that you have left over. But that's just a pocket there, look. Made out of a piece of paper that I've had left over from the kit. And as I say, I've folded it over so that when it sticks, they're the bits that obviously that I put the glue on to stick it to the page. Then this is one of the kit pages, and I had this piece left. I had this piece left over. Let me just take the white border off. But I think that will make a nice pocket. Get rid of the white bits. How are we doing for time? 23 minutes. The reason that I look and wonder how I'm doing for time is I'm actually not sure how long my phone will record for. So I'm a bit nervous about going over 30 minutes in case it switches off and I don't notice, and then I've got a video that just stops dead. So this, I think, will be a pocket. So it's a piece of the kit page. There was another bit on here. So I've just took the white bit off the edges. I'm going to make it into a pocket. So it's going to be, I folded a little bit up there. So that's going to be the pocket there. And then that, I folded it down. So that's going to be the flap. Now what I would do is line that with some plainer paper. So that would actually go, wouldn't it? So I'm going to put that on there. Sorry, I'm just putting the glue on and my page is sticking already. Don't stick. that on there. Not very straight. Terrible actually. And I don't seem to have any glue on that bit just there. I have now. Right, I'm just going to switch. I'm going to pause you while I just cut round it. Okay, so I've just neatened round the edges, so that's now lined, and I'm actually wondering whether I want to have that as a pocket or whether I want it as an extra journaling space. Well, I've got some birds as well that I think I might like to put on the front. Not all of them, obviously, but I thought it might be nice to, I think, a green tag on there to decorate the front of it. Although, you know, you don't have, again, you don't have to. So the writing on there, because I folded it, of the way I folded it, is, yep, is the right way up. It is such pretty paper. And I think I might want a bird. Is he a little bit big? Not that one. Can't use that one again. Well, I could. I very easily could, because it's just such a pretty bird. And he actually does fit. Let's try a different one. Come on, Carol, use a different one. I think I quite like that one actually, because it picks out the colours, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm going to do that one. Decision made. Whew, getting good at this, decision making. Not getting good at gluing. I've just just put glue all over the front of my label. Not a good look, Carol. Not a good look at all. So I think that's going to go on there. Wipe the glue off. And then I think I am going to put him on there. I'm just looking for a bit of my glue book that's not quite as sticky. I must learn not to press so hard when my glue is gloopy glue. Gloopy fingers. Move those out the way. We don't need little birdies, do we? These are Rachel's Fussy Cut Birds as well. There, isn't that pretty? So that, again, would go onto the page. Oh, I really like that now it's there on the page. I think they just look so different when you actually put them onto something. So that could either be a flip up and down where you can write on, extra writing space, or I could glue those there and have it as a pocket there. But either way, it can be glued on the three, and it can be a pocket there as well. So I think what I'm actually not going to do with this one is I'm not going to decide what I want it for until I know what journal it's going in. And I could put a tab on there as well, so that it shows that you can lift it up. But once it's dry properly, I can actually crease it better, and it will stay closed. But I think I might like that as a extra writing space, is what I'm thinking. Okay, folks, so we're nearly at the 30 minutes. So I think I'm going to give myself a gold star for productivity on this one. So I've got 2 of the patchwork pages done, and they'll look lovely in any of the journals that I make with Tracy's papers, Rachel's papers, Tracy's labels. So we've got a bird pocket that I'm very pleased with. We've got another bird pocket there. Pleased with that one as well. And we've got 3 tags that I'm also very pleased with. So I hope you like what I've tend to try and do with my leftover bits and pieces. And I'll be back with something else shortly. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.